So I wanted to at least offer up a Q&A session from my email list, as well as anybody that wants to jump on the live on Instagram or Facebook. And I can start responding to some of those questions. So please, guys, jump in if you have anything you want to ask. But I got a couple ones right here that I thought were deep and interesting, that I thought would be good metrics good questions that I could respond to. So just a little brief introduction. My name is Aaron Armstrong. I own the company Armstrong Ventures. It's an online consulting company where I do work with leaders and entrepreneurs. And I like to do these Facebook Lives every Saturday morning or so. And when I do these Facebook Lives, I like to talk about the same things I talk about on my podcast, which is winners, wallets, and worldviews. Just how do we take industry leaders and what are their secrets to success, and how do I interview some of them or read about them? I can share some of the stories or things that I learned in that regard. So the first question that I got was from Alex, and that was, what is your life philosophy? So this is a good question, I thought, because my life philosophy took me some time to think about, and I think that your life philosophy should always be changing. So my life philosophy is, I believe that it's not necessarily a pursuit of happiness, or life isn't just the pursuit of raw happiness, but life is a pursuit for meaning. So we should look for, how do we find meaning in our lives, more than just attacking immediate pleasures or gratification. I mean, happiness is more of a luxury when you can finally achieve that. But meaning is something that actually holds some weight behind it. And meaning sets you up for success as far as leaving a legacy. So when someone asks what my life philosophy is, it's that everybody in some regard is in the pursuit of meaning, because the pursuit of happiness is more of a delicacy. And that should come as a secondary effect to pursuing meaning. But meaning must mean that you have sacrifices you have to make, disciplines, challenges. There's a lot of things that can come from trying to find meaning. What's up, Jason? How you doing, man? Just having a Q&A, dude. So if you want to jump on and interrupt with any questions, feel free, man. I got my first question here from my email list, which is life philosophy, which I just said is about meaning, not necessarily about purpose or anything, or happiness, like a lot of people would like to think. So thank you for that question. And feel free to send me an email if you guys have any other questions you want me to answer on these calls. You can email me at info@aaronjarmstrong.com. So the second question I got, and guys, once again, if you're just hopping on, feel free to interrupt with some questions. I'm doing a Q&A today, and we're going deep, personal, whatever you want to talk about, business, anything. That's just, I didn't have anything planned or scripted, so you guys can hop in and discuss with me if you'd like. The second question is, what is my personal life purpose? So this is another one I think can probably change as you start to go deeper into yourself and learn things. But I fundamentally believe my life purpose, and I've done a lot of inner work on this, is to coach leaders in my form, which is storytelling. That could be a talk like this. It could be making a film, that could be writing a book, that could be giving a speech, but it's some way to coach other leaders, other people that are world changers, movers, shakers, right? Something where I can just provide some little value. If one person gets value from this, that's awesome. That's all I need is something to do it. So that's my life purpose. So Jason asks, what keeps me motivated every morning when I get up, pop up out of bed, ready to get it? And I think that's a great question. So what I try to do is, because I've done the inner work to figure out my life purpose, it's not about, I try to dig up my why. And how do you figure out what your why is? We figure out your why, which is, what is the sacrifice of not doing something today versus what that effect has in the future? So if what I'm doing today has the potential to impact this level of this number of people, or has the ability to impact this size of a company, or help this number of people in the future, and I know that if I don't do that in the immediate long term, I can sacrifice that, and I can associate that gap to the pain in the future, I can start to figure out, I can feel that pain, right? So I can feel the amount of people I'm giving up on by not doing something today, right? But Jason's saying right here, be hungry, right? What does that mean? Well, be hungry means you need to have the ambition and drive to help the future people in your future work. So you have to understand that difference, right? Okay, so we got a question here. It says, how do I handle failure? So failure is we could talk a lot about this one, and I could give you my quick summary of first. I like to define what failure really means. So the definition of failure in most people's context is that something you wanted to see a certain outcome at a certain time, and you didn't get that outcome at that time. And then people would categorize that as failure. So the first step is that truly a failure? So I come from the belief that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So if you could think of it more as a pivot versus a stop, it's a different strategy. It's telling you something, right? So I believe in God, that he's telling you something that you need to change or you need to learn about yourself so you can keep moving forward. And if you think about the way we are taught to learn, it's essentially by the action of failure. All it is pleasure and pain. So if you want to do something, you have to feel a response to adjust your course. And what people will like, if you touch a hot stove, you know it's hot now. Now you've put meaning to it. You get it. Now you know not to do that. So you've just learned your course. You've learned things to avoid, or you've learned what to do. You learned something about yourself. So when I go through something that I would categorize as failure, the first thing I say is, does this happen? This happened for me. Why did this happen for me? Why did this happen for me? So I can learn, what am I learning in this moment? What did I do right? The second thing is the actual tactical move I do when I start to feel like I'm failing is something called the 90-second rule. So the 90-second rule is usually when you get some type of trigger, and this is any kind of trigger, it doesn't have to be failure. It could be somebody says something that might be true about you that makes you feel terrible. It could be a trigger, an event in your life. It could be something pops up and you feel like crap and it sends a freaking terrible feeling in your gut and your stomach and in your heart. That's a trigger. And when I feel one of those, I have something I call the 90-second rule. So first is take a step back and know that you just saw a trigger. And the second thing is beat your freaking chest, throw your shoulders up and attack it like you're about to fight. Attack it. Like get your physiology moving so you can address that failure, so you can face it. You can face that trigger with enough intensity to where you feel like you can actually fight it. Like I'm saying, like physically, like if somebody was here to fight you, that's what you're going to address this trigger with. And then that snaps you back into it. Now you're okay, let's get back into it. And you get enough emotion and power and energy back into your body to where you can actually solve the problem. So that's two strategies of how I go about handling failure. First, redefine what failure is. Most of the time after you think about it for a while, you'll be like, this isn't a failure. This is actually much better. It might be removing something off my plate that isn't aligned with me. It might move something out of my life that I don't need to be spending my time on. It might show me that this course is now the right way to go. It identifies your path. So thank you for the question, Eric. So everybody that's just jumping on here, I am answering any questions. I had a couple listed from my email list, and we got Instagram people jumping in and asking questions, and on Facebook. So the next question that I got is the best compliment I've ever received. So best compliment I've ever received was, I think the best compliment is when I get validation in the work that I'm doing. So when I have a live like this, or I do a podcast and someone puts in a super positive comment, and it's detailed enough to where I can see how it actually impacted their life. So, I mean, usually when I post these lives, I'll get a lot of messages afterwards, because people will send and they'll say like, dude, that just like really hit home, that I'm going through this with my family, and what you said just really set me up for success. And I just really appreciate, like, those types of statements are the best compliments I can get. Because it's believe it or not, like just doing this talking thing, it is putting yourself in a really vulnerable place, right? It's opening yourself up to a lot of criticism. People, try to sabotage you. I mean, geez, just this week, some guy goes along all the way through the line and tries to make like a fake email so he can try to get some type of interview with me, to when all he has to do is just sign up for a free consultation call, which is funny, but he tries to get an interview with me so he can try to like expose some of my backstory, right? So it's like you're putting yourself out there. So when you do that kind of stuff, when people compliment you for the work that you're doing and they validate what you're doing, it really feels good. And it feels amazing that this is actually making an impact, because like I said, as long as one person on one of these platforms gets some type of value, that's truly all I really need. So that's the best compliment I can get, when someone give me a specific example of how they heard this, what's going on, guys, and how that changed your life. So once again, if you guys are jumping in, feel free, come in and ask some questions. I'm just going through a list of some questions that I've been getting throughout the week in my emails, and I'm here to answer them to you. And we're getting them on Facebook and Instagram as well. So feel free to ask anything. Okay, so this one was about, I thought this would be good. This one's about Marissa. And it says, what makes your spouse unique? And for those of you guys that you'll see me on these channels every once in a while, and I'm always with my wife, Marissa. And one of the things I think, the reason that I married Marissa is the reason why I think she's unique, and the reason that I think she's extremely special. And I'm a very complicated guy. So I feel that I am very fundamentally flawed at the root of my soul, right? So like, I'm trying to do good things for people. I'm trying to challenge my inherent nature to be flawed. And when I look at someone like Marissa, she is pure goodness in every way. It's just, you don't see, I've never seen that in another person, just like the pure joy in her. There's the amount of love she has for people. She does everything out of the greater good for people, for the greater good for others. And it's like, as I get more complicated in my own mind, I can't always say that I do that. And I knew marrying her would only help me get to the point where I could keep helping more people for positivity and for good. But it's like, there's no motive with her. There's no reason. She's just pure goodness. I mean, it's just truly a Christ life example, living in the presence, and the closest thing I've ever seen to somebody that's like flawless. And that's what makes her extremely unique. And that's why I married her. And that's why I love her very dearly. So I thought that was a great question, because for those of you guys that don't know Marissa, like, she has just got the purest heart that anybody's ever had. And I'm not just saying that because she's my wife. Hey guys, I'm saying that because that's why she's different than everybody. If you have a chance of working with her, it's like, she doesn't do her business for money. She doesn't do her business at Marissa's Fit Boutique. She does it because she needs to transform lives and give them their health back. It's insane how pure, like, I mean, at some level, all of us are doing this in one way or another to turn a profit, right? Like, I do this, this is my passion, storytelling, coaching leaders, but some way, this could lead back to me making money. And that's in my mind somewhere. That's not right. That's in my mind somewhere, though. And she doesn't even do that. It's just pureness of goodness from her heart. So that's why I married her. And I want to be more like that. And you got to start to be around people that you want to be like. So what's a better way to do it than marry them, right? So that's what makes her unique and my wife unique. So welcome on. We got people jumping in from Mexico. It's pretty awesome. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to hop in and ask them, because this is my outlet to you guys. I didn't have anything planned today. I just got a couple different questions from my emails, and I was just going to talk through them. But I see Dawn Ann jumped on. Dawn Ann, you still around? You always got good questions, right? I'll wave back to y'all. But these are some deep questions that I think people struggle with. And I think they ask me in the email because I think it might inspire them to see, like, what is their life purpose? What is their life philosophy? What is some of those things in their own life? And it's like, I needed to think about these things because when is a better time to think about what is your life philosophy? What is your life purpose? You only have so many years left. In fact, a friend of mine was telling me about the short film that he watched with, I think, Casey Affleck. I've never seen it. But he's watching a short film about a man dies at 30 years old, and that's the beginning of the movie. And the whole movie is where he's walking around the rest of his life as this ghost, and he's just seeing all of the things that he could have manifested, all the people that he could have helped, all of those things he could have done with his years on earth. And that is truly why you need to take the time to figure these things out today. Your life purpose, your mission, your philosophy. And if you don't think about that kind of stuff, sooner or later, you're going to be older and you're not going to have as much energy. You're not going to have the health that you want to really get it out there. So that's why I talk to young people. I talk to people all over the world. And I really try to help them think about it. That's it. Just think about it. Why are you here? And why can you bring goodness to other people's lives in some way? And if you're a nihilist, if you're an atheist, if you're somebody that doesn't necessarily believe in a spiritual purpose and the pursuit of meaning, you just think this body is here to do what it does, then I think that's just very shallow. It's just, there's only good things that can come out of a pursuit for meaning. There's only good things that can come out of a pursuit for meaning. And that's why I truly believe that that's what life is all about. And then the second thing is, what is your purpose and how does that fit into it? So I wanted to jump on and at least discuss those questions because I thought those are deep and good. But feel free to shoot some more questions at me. So, Donhan, I love Marissa and you. Thank you. If you guys have questions, please jump in and let's figure something out. I'll see if I can do my best to answer. But yeah, guys, it's just I love having people in this world that are at least interested in becoming leaders in their own respect. Because like you hear leadership and you're just thinking, a sports analogy or a military example, but it's so much deeper than that because everybody has a story. Everyone does. I mean, that's why businesses like Ancestry.com and 123Me, right? That's why their whole philosophy is about creating that legacy for your family and building the story and your bigger fit into the hierarchy that exists in this world. That's really why we're so interested in the stories around us. That's why they're so interesting. So that's why I think it's so important to tell your story, but to be the hero in your own story as well. Not just, I think Ed Milet says, not just in a movie, Taxi Driver 1 or Bellboy 2, right? You want to be the actual main character and live that out. So we had a couple more questions right here. So it says, how can you stay focused on your goals? So the first step is to define the goal. So most people won't even go that far. They won't even define a goal. I think a lot of times at New Year's, I saw a stat, it was about 33 days is when a New Year's resolution stops for most people. 33 days. And we're coming up on the new year, and I have my New Year's resolutions for last year posted in my bathroom every time I brush my teeth. So how do you stay focused on your goals? The first is to define them. Make it very clear. What is the goal that you're trying to accomplish? And it shouldn't just be make more money. It shouldn't just be have a better relationship with my spouse. It shouldn't just be I want to lose some weight. It should legitimately define it to a metric, to a complete metric, because we can't hit what we can't see. If I'm going to tell you to go out to a rifle range, you're going to say, I need to at least see the target so I can have a shot at hitting it. I'm not just going to blindly aim because you're going to waste ammo, you're going to waste resources. Same thing you're going to do with your life. You're going to waste resources if you're going to be spinning around. You're going to waste time, you're going to waste energy, and you're going to get spun out. And then a lot of times people will give up. And that's usually when we come back to failure. I didn't hit my goal at this certain time, and this is the problem. So what is the metric that you're going to do? If it's to make money, how much money exactly do you want to make? With a definite number. I want to make $330,000 this year. Okay, that's a number. Now we can build a strategy to it, right? So it's the same thing with losing weight. You can lose a certain amount of weight, but that might even be a shallow goal. How do I feel better? Well, now how do you define how do you feel better? It's like, I want to be able to wake up in the morning, like Jason says, pop out of bed, get motivated, and eventually I want to not have to drink a cup of coffee to jump into the day. That might be a really good health goal. And when you finally feel that way, you can start to check it out. So how do I focus in on that? I define it and I reiterate it back to myself every day, every morning. I have my yearly goal, I have my monthly goal, I have my daily target. One goal. What am I going to knock out today? Today, get on Facebook Live, share some news, show up. That's it. That's my goal today. That's it. I'm going to go to the gym. I got a bunch of other things I'm going to do just because I'm out of habit. But I'm actually, literally my goal today was to show up on Facebook Live. I didn't want to do it. I didn't really want to jump on this because there's a lot of, I had a lot of different triggers going on throughout the week. And it's like, man, do I really want to jump into Facebook Live? Yes, I do. I want to share these things with you guys. Got to show up. So it's just making sure that you show up every single day, do what you got to do. So great question. How do you stay focused on your goals? Define it, reiterate it to yourself every single day. Make sure you're reminding yourself of these different goals. So for those of you guys just hopping on here and here, just Q&A time. So I just went over a couple of those different questions here in the top. And now it's just been open to you guys. So Dawn Ann says, the word hero keeps coming to me. Could the universe be telling me something? And no, I've worked with Dawn Ann before, and I think that one of the things that you got to think about, and I've been doing a lot of research with Carl Jung, who's a Swiss psychologist, right? And he's done a lot of studies with the human mind as it pertains to meaning, myths, and religion. And I think that he's identified something called the synchronicity, right? And the synchronicity now is used in, it's the way of the universe and the world telling you that there's no coincidences. So if you're taking notice, and Dawn Ann's extremely intuitive, so she noticed the word heroes coming up in her life more and more. So if you notice this and you become conscious and aware of a certain coincidence, don't ignore that, right? Don't ever ignore that, because there's something there. Because just like you would analyze a poem, just like you would analyze motifs and symbols and themes within a piece of literature, if you can do that effectively in your life, you can also start to find the destination and the direction that you're going, Think of it as a scavenger hunt where you're literally looking for the symbols and the signs everywhere around you, and then try to figure out, what is this trying to tell me? And that becomes the challenge. Instead of just thinking that, the masculine strategy is to say A to B, here's the goal, bull rush right through it. No. We got to start to find those seemingly coincidental experiences within our life. That's truly where I think we got to go. So identify the synchronicity, be one with the synchronicity, because those that's not God puts those things in your life for a reason. He puts the events there. The things that seem coincidental. If you guys are in a routine or a habit and you see the same people at the same time, you go to the same places throughout the day, throughout the week, and then you start to see something odd, like a homeless person walks up and asks you for money that typically doesn't do that. That's an interesting interruption in your pattern. So I wouldn't ignore those types of things. To this day, I still don't ignore those things. If something's interrupting my pattern, it's usually interrupting my pattern for a reason. So I like to at least explore it with some curiosity. It might turn out to be nothing, but it's at least good to be aware of that. So that's a good way to start thinking about things, especially if you're like me and you get so caught up in the just bull rush from A to B. But understanding the synchronicities of life can take you in these beautiful winding paths that provide shave light years off your journey, off your travel, and you can start to run into people that actually matter. So there's certain symbols and motifs that show up in my life that I know have meaning. I've shared a lot of those on my different platforms, but I would encourage you guys to start thinking about, what does coincidence mean to you? And do you believe that there is something called coincidence? Because I don't necessarily believe it, especially as you're made conscious and aware of it. I believe in the concept of synchronicity. So I think that to answer your question the long way, Dawn, is yes, I do think that there's something worth exploring with what a hero really means to you. So I really appreciate you all jumping in and asking some questions today. I got a couple of minutes left here. If you have any last questions, please shoot me a note, and I'd like to quick answer them. But I didn't have a whole lot planned for you guys today. So if you have a couple more, let's see if I just am missing anything on Facebook down here. But Jason said, when is your next event? So we took a step back. We are going to probably launch their next event coming up in the springtime. So location not announced, and our venue is not announced yet. So we are definitely planning. We're planning to do it quite large. So I want to get some different speakers. We're in the works right now of working through them. So for those of you guys that don't know, I do really love to do speaking events. If I ever have the opportunity, I like to help out local businesses, small businesses. I just did a kickoff for a studio a while ago for mixed martial arts. So, I just love entrepreneurs taking that leap of faith and getting out there. So I always love to support those. I love to speak for people and just give them a little, like I said, if I just touch one life and get them moving in the direction of how they can become a hero and a leader in their own life, in their own circle, that matters to me. So I host different events that I do myself, and I'm planning on doing one coming up this spring. The winter gets long here in Wisconsin, so it's going to give me some time to really start to hone in and prep my next event. So thanks for the question, Jason. That's all I got for you. I don't have a specific date or a specific venue yet, because we're still just trying to vet out a couple different speakers we can bring and what we want to do. But they're coming. A lot of them are coming this next year. It's going to be a big part of my goals for 2019. Get some more speaking events. So if any of you guys need a speaker, let me know. I'd love to come and help out. Otherwise, I appreciate the questions today, guys. So That's all I had. I mean, if you guys want to connect, please send me a Facebook message, send me an Instagram message, send me an email, ask me questions. You can email me at info@aaronjarmstrong.com, or you can you can just subscribe to my list, my newsletter, and respond to that. So that's how a lot of these guys started asking some questions. I picked out some of the deeper ones. There were a couple other ones on there that were kind of good. Some of them were kind of bad, but I picked out ones I thought were interesting. So appreciate you guys listening through to the end. Like I said, these every Saturday morning. If you guys want to jump on next Saturday, please interrupt me with questions. I'll always answer. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a great week. Go be somebody.
Welcome.